you, my friend Rain Pryor? How are you?
I'm happy. I'm sitting with you, but at my home. It's so weird. And on your show, this is fun.
Isn't it? Now, I hope you have a glass of something because I want to toast you. Oh my God. You got the memo, huh?
I did.
Now, what is in that glass, Rain Pryor?
Well, Dave made me a Kentucky Mule.
Ooh, that sounds good. Wow.
I put some whiskey in there.
Well, let's cheers.
Cheers.
If we can bring it. There we go. We'll
Right.
cheers without spilling it on our computer laptops. We'll have a sip. I tell you, it is such a blessing. How has it been going for you and the family? What are some things you've been doing? I'm sure you're doing a lot of writing, creating, painting, cleaning closets.
Sure. Yes. I mean, I just, it's all the same, right? Dishes, laundry. It's like, now all of a sudden it's fun to do laundry because it's going someplace different, like the basement. I tell people I keep getting kicked out of the bar, which is the living room. It's hilarious. Like nothing about this is normal, and it's all about creating your own space.
Yes, right.
Holding space for how to deal with all this. Like you might hear like this, you might hear the dog, you might see them, they might get up and decide to jump in my lap at any moment. My daughter might yell from upstairs, "Mom," and I'll have I'm on an interview, all that might happen.
Absolutely. I want to talk about your career and how you first, obviously, your parents, wonderful people, and you've had that influence, of course, of your dad, which everybody knows, Richard Pryor. But for you, you've carved out this phenomenal career of your own. Tell us about how you were able to make that transition with, all of the trappings of Hollywood and everything that was around you, still being Rain Pryor as Rain Pryor.
It's funny. I can say at times I don't know. I just think that in my head, I placed an intention that I was going to do something. And I was going to do it my way, right. and make it work for me. And that's kind of sort of how it all kind of melded together and happened. Which at times for people, it can be, yes, could I have used the Pryor umbrella and stayed there and probably been even, I would say, materially successful in that sense, but I'm personally successful because I said I'm going to do it with me, myself, I, and those who help you along the way, if that makes sense. And
absolutely.
And kind of carved out, my own way, just like with Head of the Class. I wrote the character, at an audition, and then it became part of the series, and it was supposed to be a guest star, and then that turned into a successful 3 years of something that was supposed to be 2 episodes.
Right, exactly. Sometimes that happens. And people really noticed your unique talent as well, didn't they?
Yeah, and that, and what's interesting is I don't think I knew I had, a unique talent. I don't think I knew and still sometimes I don't realize oh, I do. I sing, I dance, I write, I direct, I produce. I don't think I even grasp that concept all the time, and I'm running for office. It's what is this? But I think what it's about is I want change in the world that's positive.
Right.
I just think it's about showing up and making an impact. It's not about winning. It's not about losing. It's really about, did your presence make an impact?
Exactly right. Exactly. So for the audience, bio-wise, you grew up in California, right? And what was that like in terms of growing up with the surroundings of a lot of people that were doing their thing?
It was at that time, the 70s, 80s. It was. I grew up around Robin Williams, Tom Waits, my dad.
Yeah, Richard Pryor. Yeah, right.
Yeah, him. That guy. And and in this creative, it was all creative space. You know what I mean? Like everyone was constantly working on bits. Everyone was working on a character. You know, we would have, oh my God, it's okay. It'll come at some point.
Yeah. 2:00 in the morning.
2:00 in the morning.
You could text me.
Oh, that's who it was. You know, we would have my parents would have these big creative sessions in their home, and like you just show up and I'm there, and I would hear Tom Waits, you know, decide I want to write a song, and then Chucky Weiss would be like, what about this? And you know, it's like these jam sessions and everyone sharing artistically, and that's what that was like. And that's what I was surrounded by. And then it changed. Then it was like, you know, everyone gets older and has a life, and it's different. Like I look at it now and it's different. Like comedy is different, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. So everybody knows your father, of course, the comedic genius, Richard Pryor. Tell us a little bit about your mother. She's a scientist?
Yes, she's a smarty pants. Shelley is a scientist. She's an astronomer. She's won awards. She teaches astronomy all over the place. And yeah, she's just a brilliant, offbeat, not like, you know, you would expect kind of mom. Like she's not. She's just artistic and groovy, and, you know, scientists, they're in their own
space.
Yeah. She'll talk about stuff and I'm like, I need to look that up in the encyclopedia because, you know, like, can you do it in layman terms? And she's like, me. Wow, like, you should know this.
Exactly. Did you ever have a moment where you didn't want to pursue the field of entertainment? You wanted to live more of a quiet life? I mean, in relative terms, you basically really do, because you're not in Hollywood, you're not there in New York. I mean, you've done your thing in those areas, but you have a family, you have a lovely daughter, you know, home and hearth. You've been able to somehow, which isn't always easy, balance it all. How are you able to do that? Where does that come from, that strength, the resilience?
You know, again, that goes back to
you were right on cue.
What's gonna happen? Hey, the neighbors are walking the dog. That's what happened.
Social distancing. Are they 6 feet apart?
They're answering the question right now.
What's the dog's name?
On it. Well, there's 3.
Oh, there's 3.
There's Ping, which is a little Shih Tzu. There's Debo, which is a rescue. He was supposed to only be a foster, and he ended up living in our home forever now. Debo, who's kind of an American bulldog and pit bull. And then there's a Siberian husky we also rescued, named Mercury, because my daughter loves Queen.
Somehow I see a script in all of this somewhere. Oh, there you go. Now, which dog is that?
That's the American bully. He's a American bulldog. Come here, say hi.
You're live on the Jim Masters Show live here. Hey, what a great shot. Beautiful, huh?
He loves to hug. He's a hugger. He's hilarious. I've never seen a dog hug before. This dog hugs.
So you're living the quiet life, but he doesn't necessarily want to. That's fantastic.
Dad went outside. Dave went outside, and my dog's like, "Oh my!" He's like, "Dad left me."
That's what I love about you. Anything can happen. Anything goes. And it's always hilarious, and it's always, you're a straight shooter. You're authentic.
Yes.
Right. Right on cue. I hope that dog is non-union. I don't think we can afford union right now. So you were mentioning was there ever a time when you didn't want to go into entertainment? Did you ever say, there was?
It was. I actually went to school for a while to be an addictions counselor. I actually did that for almost 6 years. I was like, I'm out of Hollywood. And then it was funny. All my clients were people in the industry.
That right.
Sorry, they were. And I need to go back into what I was doing. Like, I don't know if I want to be doing this. So then I stopped and developed my own show, which ended up having its own history and its own thing. And that's kind of been what I've been doing with life. And then I was like, I want a life. I want a life, and I'll move out of Los Angeles, 3,000 miles away to Baltimore to have and find this thing that I think I was searching for, which is, when you grow up in Hollywood, there's no normal really.
Right.
And I think I wanted something that wasn't about entertainment, something that was like,
right, exactly.
And then having Lotus, that changes everything, because
absolutely
artistic and she dances and she does this, and I'm like, I can't get away. Keeps pulling me back.
Absolutely. Yeah, she really is very talented, huh?
She is.
Yeah, and very spirited and loving. And again, you set the tone. The tone is always set from the top. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. You've, as I mentioned, singer and actress and comedian and writer and performer, playwright, all of it. Obviously, the talent is there. The passion is there. I got a chance to see Fried Chicken and Latkes. Tell us about that incredible one-woman, phenomenal show that you created.
So Fried Chicken and Latkes is my, one-person solo show about growing up being Black and Jewish in the 1970s through the 80s till like now, and things, how they reflect back and forth. And it talks about racism during that time. And becoming my own person and becoming a mother through all this. And of course, my dad's in it, and I play about 11 characters, including him.
It's unbelievable.
My parents on both sides. And it's exciting because, it's being made into a TV series, and we're just getting ready to finish up so we can start pitching. And that's so exciting. And, I'm working with Brent Miller and Norman Lear, who did One Day at a Time, and God name,
All in the Family, and Maud and Jeffersons, Good Times.
I'm working with, Stacey Levin at MGM. I'm working with, Richie Schwartz and all of, it's just, what? Right. And it's really exciting to see your story or something you've worked really hard at or that you want manifest. Even though sometimes it's not like this, but it is, but it's not. But it's exciting.
Yeah, isn't that incredible? I mean, it's absolutely. I want to talk a little bit about it because it's your award-winning solo show, hilarious, heart-wrenching story of growing up Black and Jewish, as you mentioned, in a politically incorrect era.
Yeah.
Your father, of course, comic genius Richard Pryor, and your mother, the Jewish astronomer. You discover how you found your identity in both worlds and work to change ours. Directed by Eve Brandstein, of course. And you received rave reviews. I mean, everywhere you've gone. Los Angeles Times Critics' Choice Award for the beautiful singing voice that you have. Some people might not even realize you got this powerhouse of a voice. And the sense of timing you have, the wit is extraordinary. You nail it. New York Times critic pick. New York Times reviewer said she has an outsized presence built for Broadway.
Baby.
Bring it on. Here comes Rain.
Right.
That's right. Don't rain in her parade. Fried Chicken and Latkes played out to sold-out crowds. And again, I was there. I saw it. Standing ovations every night at a 375-seat theater in Beverly Hills, California. Repeated successes as well. At the Culture Project in New York, in Chicago, Ohio, Virginia, Texas, Scotland, Atlanta, Harlem, North Carolina, Santa Monica. That must have really been amazing for you, that experience, huh? You've done so many things, but that was your baby.
It was my baby. And you know what's interesting, Jim? People told me when I first started doing it, don't. They're like, why would you do this? Why would you do this? I had an agent drop me. I bet now they're like, oh my God. And we stuck it out.
That's it. Yeah.
because people thought I was crazy, and I thought, well, someone's got to do it.
Right, right. Now, when you hear that, when you hear somebody say, "Don't bother, you shouldn't," just drop it.
Yeah.
You don't curl up and run away. You're like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I am that way. If my mom said, "Don't touch the stove," I touched it. Like, I had to find out it was hot.
Yeah, right.
I'm that person. Like, I'm going to, you tell me no, and I'm going to find out how to do it.
Right, exactly.
I know somebody else is thinking that way. I know. So it's like, I had to take a leap of faith and knowing in myself who I am, what my talent was, what I could do, and put it out there. And this is 17 years.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Folks just joining us, I'm Jim Masters. We're here with the lovely and talented Rain Pryor. Such a blessing and a joy to have her here. You also appeared numerous times, as did your dad, and you can see the reruns on Antenna TV, on The Tonight Show with the one and only Johnny Carson. What was that like?
Oh my God, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Like when you get that call and you're like, do you want to come on the show? And by the way, I think your dad might be here. And you're like, oh, oh my goodness. It was very exciting,
What was your dad's response to your coming up in the world of entertainment and being in the creative arts? Was he supportive? Was he chip off the old block type thing? What was that experience like for you?
Dad was like, she gets the microphone and the afro wig, and my sister got the perfect education. Like my sister is a professor at Smith College. That should just right there. It was like, Rain, we know she's going to be a talent, and she probably won't go to college because she's going to be a talent. And so we need to prepare her for that. So I was given the dance classes. I never took the acting classes till later, but dance classes up the galore and music lessons. And I studied opera when I was 13.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. That's amazing. So also too, you had the title role of Billie Holiday in the UK tour of the Billie Holiday Story, title role of Ella Fitzgerald in the UK premiere of Ella, Meet Marilyn, performed in the Los Angeles productions of Eve Ensler's The Vagina Monologues with Nora Dunn of Saturday Night Live fame as well, Charlene Tilton, Joan by Linda Chambers, in which you portrayed Joan of Arc, Cooking with Gas, with Groundlings improvisation troupe, The Exonerated, with critically acclaimed actor Aidan Quinn, and The Who's Tommy at the L'Ohara Playhouse. Talk about range.
God, I'm telling you, my next adventure, once we all open up and Broadway's back in business, I'm going to Broadway.
You also wrote that book. Tell us about the book. And I think I had showed a cover of that book. I love that cover. Jokes my father never taught me. What was the inspiration, Rain, for that book? That's a beautiful shot on your dad's shoulders there. Tell us about that.
I think I was tired of everyone else telling the story.
Yeah.
So I just thought it's time I should just tell, my story and the truth of what my life was with these people. And I wanted people to, it's funny because when you go through a whole process of trying to sell a book, and if your parent is famous, the whole thing becomes about, the sensationalism and blah, blah, blah. And I remember getting turned down many, many times because I was like, here's the book I want to write. I understood it. I get he was messed up. I get my mom was blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
But they were my parents, and I've come to have an understanding and a forgiveness. And it's funny because people were like, well, we don't want that. We want the, but I did it my way.
Right. Exactly.
Nominated for an NAACP award and an African American Literary Award. And, and again, it's 17 years, but now my solo show and it all comes together, and it's, I still get to tell this story, but in a different way, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Through your eyes, through your experience, because you lived it, you were there. people can guess and sort of, do Lifetime movies and everything else, but you were there, you were on the scene, so you know. Right. So that also too is a beautiful thing, because not everybody, has the ability, the gumption, and the confidence to be able to tell that story. Were you ever hesitant to go into those directions and tell the story, or was it something you just felt compelled to do? And in a way, as truthful as you are in the book, to also pay homage and honor your parents at the same time as talking about all the experiences growing up with them.
Well, part of who I am, and anyone who knows me knows this, is that it's all about the people who came before us. It's all about to honor them and don't put them down. Like, it wasn't my responsibility to point out what everyone knew about Daddy or what people knew about my mom. It was important to be of that legacy and to kind of talk about the healing and to be honest. Like, I didn't cut corners. I was honest in the way that I knew at the end of the day, I could sit and I could feel proud, and he could feel proud, and she could feel, proud and okay with what I said.
Right.
Even though at times it was painful. And
yeah, absolutely. You described your mother beautifully. How do you, from your perspective, because everybody has their own images and their own thoughts, how do you describe your dad to you? He's your dad.
Yeah. I mean, he was my dad. He was dad. Like, that's how it's funny, because I think there are moments where even now I'm like, oh my God, it's Richard Pryor. Like, that's so weird, because he really was like, he could be on, he could be off, he could be present, and now as a parent, I see that in, how parents are doing, there's no book, parents are doing the best that they can. But for some people, it sounds great to have kids. And I think for him and my mom, it sounded great, but the responsibility, it's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I literally signed up. I was like, I'm going to have this baby, so when Lotus came in, it was like, I was ready.
That's it. I've been waiting for you. All right. The room is ready.
She told me she was waiting for me. She said, I watched you from heaven for 3 years, Mommy.
Wow.
And she was like, she was like, and I you to be my mommy.
Absolutely. Look at that. Yeah. So beautiful. And you can see the love there too, I tell you. And then Dave, married Dave. What a beautiful thing. And that's such a gorgeous picture there. Tell us about that. That's another joy in your life too, huh?
Because, when I met Dave, basically, I would say I was practicing dating, because I was kind of like, I'm not good at it. And haven't been good at the relationships. And when I met him, I think I looked at Dave like, okay, I'm going to practice how to be healthy in a relationship. And I had moved back for a little bit to Los Angeles, and this man courted me, like old-fashioned courted me. He flew out on a plane, surprised me, dressed up as the UPS guy, said he had a package in the door that was him. I was, oh my God. My daughter really liked him because he was kind and he didn't care. Like, he didn't know who I was. And then when he started to find out, it was like, there was that moment, not of being uncomfortable, but like, it was more, instead of, oh no, am I okay for her? It was more like, is she gonna like me? Like, is she gonna be okay with me? It was really, and I was like, I liked that he was normal.
Exactly. Right.
And I like that he, plays the drums and the guitar, and he sings and he can build things. It was just like, so.
Well, you just redid the house too. I saw some pictures. You were working on
the living room. We redid the living. That was a one step at a time.
That was.
I just want to say, right now the living room is gorgeous. and so is the garden.
Right.
The rest of the house is like, we're working on it.
Yeah, that's it.
My daughter just said, yeah. Oh.
You mean the areas that are roped off to the public?
Yeah.
Where the nails are there, the screws and the hammers. Now there's something else I love to notice. She's right there. She's not like holding all the leashes for all the dogs, is she? Something else that I mentioned I want to bring up here on the screen. Look at that. Rain Pryor for Baltimore City Council. And when did you decide to get into crazy world of politics? And I tell you, we really could use some Rain Pryor now and always, because you're a get it done type, and I know that you've had things that have happened as well that sort of also pushed you in that direction. But I think you were meant to go in that direction anyway, just through all the phenomenal experiences, the richness of your life and your experiences, the interactions with people, relationships, the family, your accomplishments, your accolades. You were meant to be on this planet to make positive change and to touch the lives of others, however you have.
Supposed to be, right? So
right.
Growing up,
right.
to run for city council, and the elections are less than 3 weeks away. And I am, what's interesting, people have asked, well, someone said, what are you going to do if you win? And I said, laugh and celebrate. And they're like, what are you going to do if you don't? And I said, laugh and celebrate.
Right.
Because I'm in this to make an impact. I'm in it because I think we need people who aren't politicians to step into politics, who want to see change for other people. It's not about me. That's what's awesome. I think that's why I kind of like it. That I say kind of, because there's parts of it that, are the politics. We see it in the world.
Absolutely.
So it's all about how do you make the best impact possible for the greater of everybody else. And it should have nothing to do with you.
Right. Exactly. Well, it's not as easy as it may seem. There's a lot to it. And what's the process been like for you, Rain? Throwing your hat in the ring and just trudging forward as you have.
It's like going to college when you've gotten C's the entire time.
That's an interesting way to put it. Yeah.
You are cramming and learning, and you have a tutor in every subject.
Yeah.
And you're literally learning. For me, I'm learning on my feet as I go. I'm not naive to what I don't know. I'm honest about what I do and don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surrounding myself with people who are better and smarter than I am, which is a good thing to do.
Yeah.
To help me learn about this process. So again, I can make the right impact.
Exactly.
And that's how I look at this process. I'm really amazed at the people who go, I want to do this, and I want to do this as a career. Like, I'm amazed with them.
Right.
I'm just like, wow. But I guess they also look at what I do probably the same way. Like, why would you, want to expose yourself in that way? It's a different kind of exposure.
It is. Absolutely. What are a few things maybe that you can share with us that have surprised you, or that you've learned about this particular process of politics?
I've learned I guess what I've learned is that you really don't know politics until you are in politics. You think you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I find interesting. Like the people at home, like we're all pundits, you don't know until you're in it. Right. You don't know how hard it is. Like there are things like I didn't realize, like, and again, it sounds naive, but I didn't know. Like I didn't realize when you hear someone voted against something, there might have been 20 other things, which is why they had to say no to that one thing that might have been helpful, but there were 20 other things that would have not been helpful.
Exactly right.
So there's so many intricacies and relationships and and just little things that you're like, all right, so if I become, city council woman, that I will be able to do X, Y, and Z, and there's the other things that I wanted to do have to wait.
Right.
Like, that's just how it's going to be. Like, you can't really, like, you might think, wow, I'm going to do a change
all overnight, right? Yeah.
No,
not quite. Yeah. There's always roadblocks and pivots, and yeah.
And you have to just be, for me, not you, because not you or you, but because I'm watching it happen in the political world, that I think when you get people who are truly authentic, you should hold them and help to nurture that.
Yes.
For all of us. And then, hopefully they make their mark and move in, and someone else can come in that we have nurtured and, set up.
Absolutely. So, what is your platform? Do you have things that you automatically would love to do? So if people are watching in Baltimore right now, I didn't, I've seen those posters and those signs. Tell us a little bit about that.
One of the biggest things we have in Baltimore is dealing with crime.
Yeah.
As a councilwoman, I want to reach out to the Baltimore City Police Department, who actually, the Fraternal Order of Police did endorse me for my campaign, because I'm willing to sit across from them and have the hard conversation about corruption in the department, as well as what can we do as a community, and how can I facilitate that conversation between community and you to make Baltimore and our district that I'm living in safe for you. So I'm doing that. Bringing to the table now, because of the pandemic, how do we cultivate interest in bringing jobs to Baltimore that will also be an incentive in these jobs to give people who are living here an opportunity to be hired or to have vocational training. These are things, and education, of course. That was the reason I got into this, was my daughter was bullied.
Yeah.
I'm trying to reach out to our congressional leaders to talk about being able to affect change in policy on how we handle violence and bullying in our schools.
Yeah, and that's been, when you and I were kids, there was bullying. There were always people who would, but now with the internet and so much more, it's a lot worse, and it's been stronger, and it's really been.
We have the clear policies around it, and so that's part of what I want to do. But like I said, this whole, the pandemic and everything, it's changed everything, and so we're gonna have to look at the way we do things differently than the way we started out.
Yeah, I keep telling people, I don't hope we return to normal. I hope we go to better.
Yeah, create something new.
I hope we go to better. Absolutely. Well, this is really cool, because all of these different experiences you've had with television and film and stage and now politics, is this a full circle moment happening in your life, do you think, in some respects?
I do. I think it is a full circle moment, and I still have no idea where all the roads are going to take me. I just keep telling people I'm showing up right now. Right. That's my responsibility, is to keep showing up and to keep learning as much as possible, and to stay humble, because no matter how much I know, I don't know. And so I want to stay as humble and teachable through all of this as possible. At almost, in 2 months, I'll be 51 years old. And I look on my life and I go, oh my God, she is like amazing life.
Yeah. That is fantastic. That is beautiful. Loving and respectful with your audience. And, you just really, you laid all out on the table. I remember the show.
I love ya.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what it is. Then you had the show with your brother, Richard Pryor Jr. at the Metropolitan Room, with all the different wigs and everything. That was hilarious.
That was so much fun.
Yeah. So what is it like when you do get a chance to work together with your brother?
That was the very first time.
Was it really?
Other than childhood, like we would do that all the time as kids at Dad's house.
Yeah.
So it was fun to see that happen as adults. And I told him I want to do more. Like, I love the fact that we are, we are the Black Osmonds.
Right. Exactly. So you're going to sing Puppy Love now?
Exactly.
You have a ranch in Utah?
I might. A couple of, I don't know.
I know, what I love about you too is you are extraordinarily humble. As much as you are somebody who is confident and resilient, and you trudge through and you make things happen, you're very humble. So I do want to share with the audience, because I think it's very important. You are showered with all kinds of love, of course, for the person that you are, and I love you very much, Rain, but also from folks in various organizations. You've received so many accolades and awards, nominations. 2015 British Urban Film Festival Honorary Award recipient on behalf, posthumously, of your dad, Richard Pryor. 2008 Marin Services for Women Founders Award recipient. 2007 NAACP Image Award Best New Author Biography nomination, Jokes My Father Never Taught Me, Life, Love, and Loss with Richard Pryor. 2007 African American Literary Awards nominated for that book as well. 2005 NAACP Theater Award Best Female Performer Equity recipient for Fried Chicken and Latkes. Also in 2005, NAACP Best Original Playwright Equity nominated for Fried Chicken and Latkes. 2005, Invisible Theater's Golden Klein Guest Artist Award recipient for Fried Chicken and Latkes. 2004, Los Angeles Ovation Awards Best Solo Performance nominated as well, and on and on and on. I know you don't do what you do for any of that.
Yeah, I don't.
You don't. But when you do get not only the love and adulation of those who really honor and respect your work, but also from your peers. That's sometimes always, I know even in television and radio, it's a very similar world. Sometimes it's not always easy to get the respect from your peers. So
Right.
When you do get that, how does it make you feel?
It feels, it feels like, oh, you see me. That's what it feels like. You see me. Thank you.
Right, exactly.
So the difference between me and my peers is I'm a gusher. So if I see you and I like your work, I'm going to be like, oh my God, I like your work. And I'll probably cry. Like I'm that girl that makes other celebrities sometimes uncomfortable because they're like, she's emotional, because I am. I'm moved by your performance. I'm moved by what you do. And I have that appreciation and love. So I think that's the difference between me and some people are like, wow, I really love your work and and I'm like, I love your work. Like Robert De Niro, when I met him and I couldn't even say his name. I was so nervous. I'm like, and his manager elbowed me, Robert De Niro.
Yeah. That is him in the flesh.
I was like, oh my God.
So, getting back to the entertainer side of things, of the people you've had an opportunity to work with, and you've worked with many and some real, greats. Are there some folks that really impacted you, that really stood out, that either maybe they mentored you, or they just made an impact in your life, or they just were a true joy and blessing to work with?
The person that I look up to, who was a big part of my life, and I don't think they realize how much they have influenced me. And I hope one day she'll either be in my series, I hope, or she'll come see the solo shows, Lily Tomlin. Big part of my life and my family since I was a little girl. The first time I ever performed a solo show was 7 years old in her living room. I did the entire play of Annie on Christmas Eve. And sang every role that she has never forgotten. And she turned to my mom and said, that's what she's going to be. That's what she's going to be. And she's right. From Lily Tomlin, and then who I did meet and I did get to work with her, Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Is someone.
Was it hard not to gush over them when you met them?
No, because I think I was a little too caught up in Rain at the time. I think I was just like, yeah, of course I'm working with Whoopi, you know. Now I'd be like, oh my God, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And then when I remember that's one of the celebrities I met, like Patti LaBelle cried.
Oh, yeah.
Because I got to sing for my dad and she was there and she sang. She was like, keep singing. And that was just like, oh my God, she didn't tell me to be quiet and like go away.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
And then Dustin Hoffman was just a lovely human being. Like I've met so many different people that I admire that I've wanted, you know, to either work with or to be around, like great, like, you know, even Melvin Van Peebles.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know, to be able to, but I think the best thing is I got to do a little scene with my dad in Chicago Hope, you know, and to work with him was like, that was amazing to me, but he was amazed by me. Like, that's when he turned to me and he said, keep doing this. This is, you know.
Yeah. So he saw that spark, he saw that light, and he inspired you to continue.
Yeah.
Well, that must have been an extraordinary experience. Were you nervous? Were you intimidated? Were you wanting to please Dad?
Yes, all those things.
All those
things, you know, like you don't want to speak this up. This is, you know, everyone knows you're his kid. Like, you know, and I get some people are very like, they're very comfortable in that. Like I was very awkward as a young person. I think I'm more comfortable now, but I hate auditions, but I'm still more comfortable in who I am, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like as opposed to maybe a set script, you can, I'm similar in that way because I've been in television studios and scenarios where I've just thrown out on stage where I've just been thrown out there, Jim, go do something. Right. And those are some of the most not only challenging, but invigorating. All cylinders are firing. I love it. And then the response from, you know, whoever is there, the studio crew or the audience, the viewers, the listeners, stage, whatever it is, there's something about that where you can just be thrown out there because you are authentically you. And that's what I love about you, Rain. When I first met you, you are just authentically you. You're also so like expressive, like you said, but you're also very supportive. You are always rooting other people on. You could easily, like some do, rest on, like you said, the Pryor name, all the accolades, and say, I'm good. I'm married. I have my home, my child, but there's a part of a legacy. I have my body of work. I'm good. But that's not you. No. I got to be in the trenches, you know, like that's where I feel like I've done something when I'm in the like today. Oh, I'll show you. Hold on. I'm going real fast. Don't spill the drink. I know, right? So my neighbor is a first responder ER. She had 4 little kids. Well, 5 little kids. So I made them, I don't know if you can see it, masks. A little bit. Yeah, there you go. Oh, wow. So that's what I've been doing. Like that, when I can make other people feel good, like I thrive. And so I'm in the process. I just have to put the little strings on them and then that's done. And so I can give it to her kids tomorrow. What did you make it from? Is that from a curtain or a scarf or? This is, so I actually had bought fabric a while ago because I was supposed to redo the chairs because I like doing home stuff. You're supposed to be sitting on that right now? Yeah. So instead I was like, I'm going to make the mask because it's durable and no air comes out. So yeah. That's incredible. Right? I tell you, you're always you're always thinking, you're always creating, and you're always giving back. And that's the key. I'm so happy for you. I appreciate that. It's just the lover is great. It's been taking off. Kathleen Walker says, yes. Let's see. She says, do you have a favorite movie of your father's? Lady Sings the Blues. Oh, yeah. My first favorite. Yeah. It goes Lady Sings the Blues, Busting Loose, and then all his live stuff, live and concert films. Yeah, that's you know which one I loved too, and I think I've got a photo of it here. just because there was something about what he shared. There was a humanness, there was a relatability, there was a kindness, there was an innocence to his performance. And of course, who he was playing off, another phenomenal legend who I've always admired, and I wish, he wasn't gone, I'd love to meet him, was when he was in The Toy.
The Toy. I knew you were going to say
The Toy. Something about his performance was so heartwarming, so innocent, so loving.
He was that.
Yeah.
He was heartwarming. He was innocent. He was a giver. Like he was also very generous.
Yes.
I remember someone walking up to him and staking him for Bill Cosby.
Yep.
And he signed their autograph. Like he signed it Bill Cosby. And when I said, why did you do that? He was like, because it would have been upsetting if he didn't know that that's who I wasn't. You know what I mean?
Like, you want to burst their bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other than running for office and everything else that you do, Lotus, what's a tip? Talking to Jim live on air. What's a typical night for Rain like, or is there no?
I'm joking. No, I am so I think I am a person. I think for me, being in quarantine, is a good fit.
Yeah,
because I like being home. I like
right.
I like sitting. Usually it's me, the dogs, Dave, Lotus on the couch arguing over what we're going to watch.
Yeah, that's right. And who wins usually?
Lotus or Dave.
Yeah.
I just, okay. Yeah. That's what a normal night is. It's like, did you do all your homework? Did you, are you going to go to bed on time? Be sure you turn off your phone, Lotus, because she just got a phone. Like, it's up. I'm a parent. Like, it's like, go to bed.
You're a very supportive and loving and encouraging mom, too. I know she's really, along with Dave, the love of your life. And it means so much to you.
And the beautiful thing, Jim, is that I have a great relationship with her dad, too.
Yes.
So I am excited about the life that this girl has, because one, it's not how I grew up. And, we spend holidays together. My ex and his mom have come over to our house. His new wife comes, it's like we are that family for her. And I encourage people, I wish people could have that.
Right.
Because once you get past the ego of did this or this happened to me and blah, 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 and you throw that out the door and you're like, my purpose is to create a life for this being that needs protection and security and love. It flies.
The rest takes care of itself.
Yes.
What are some lessons? What are some things that you've learned? I think we're all going to come out of this. I mean, there seems to be, for me, or at least I've seen it, and I've talked to people who feel that this is sort of a reset in a way. It's us not being forced, but just it's a wake-up call in a way that we should go back to being empathetic and being kind and loving and not always so rushed. And, the people are talking about having the struggle of social distancing, because we can't go just hop on a plane and see the loved ones. We can't just go next door and hug the person. It's more of the fact that we were sort of social distancing before this even happened.
Absolutely.
Our heads were in our cell phones.
Right.
We were worried about what people were doing on social media, following what other people are doing, buzz, bling, and everything else, which I know that stuff never really turned you on anyway. So it seems like a reset, doesn't it, a little bit? What are some of the things you've learned from this experience?
It's funny. I think what I've learned is why I moved to Baltimore. The stuff doesn't make you happy.
Right.
And people, I think when you realize, look, I had a very significant health event happen before all of this in December. I had a heart thing. Yeah. And so to be in a place in this quarantine to realize stuff doesn't matter. Like people have lost their jobs, things are changing, nothing is permanent. So the stuff that you thought mattered and having like, no, when it comes down to it, it's the basics. It's, do I have a roof over my head? Can I put food in my belly? Am I warm? You know, and do I have the ability to love or care about something again besides myself?
Exactly.
And you realize the car doesn't matter. What kind of job you had doesn't matter.
No.
But you know, it doesn't matter that you lived in the big home if you can't afford it now. So
Right.
maybe the excess of the world, people might realize that that's not what makes you good, bad, or significant. What makes you significant, what makes you a good person is, again, how do you show up in the world?
Right. Right.
How do you show up to each other? And to me, that has been the most important thing. And maybe, yeah, because I have been up and down in my life on all financial levels.
Sure.
And that doesn't define a person, just doesn't. And
Absolutely.
I have to get out of this.
Right, exactly. And again, these are some of the things that you're pointing out and sharing with our audience that are some of the things that I love most about you. And I'm sure, everybody, Dave and Lotus and your family and all the other friends, is because, you came from an atmosphere where you had a lot of the trappings of Hollywood around you, and you've come through that with this incredible understanding of the human condition, the understanding of what really matters most in life. Some people watching right now might be very surprised like that. They would figure that, why would you not want the trappings of Hollywood and all the glitz and glamour and everything that's just right there? It sort of, quote unquote, makes your life easier. Not necessarily. And it's not necessarily fulfilling.
Right. But you know why? Because I have been homeless. I have lived with my mom and been on welfare. I have struggled in my life. I've had to borrow money from friends for me and for my child. I've been at all different levels. Then I've been able to pay for people's rent, to give them money for rent at times.
Right.
So I've been on both ends. And I think I'm lucky that way. Like someone said to me the other day, you have lived like more than 50 lifetimes. The things I've done for a living, the things I've done in my life. And I think I was supposed to do that so that I could understand, so that I have been where you are, or I kind of can relate to that and have a feeling about your struggle right now, because I too have had that struggle.
You've lived it. You've been there. That's what makes you so relatable. It reminds me, and I've mentioned this on my YouTube channel, and these masters mantras that I like to do on Facebook. Yeah. And everybody says, Jim, you got to write a book on that. You got to do videos. So I've been working on all that. And very similar to what you just said, living the experience that you've lived and the life you've lived has brought you to where you are now, and the full understanding of life that you have and the human condition. I was on a TV shoot, I mentioned, in Las Vegas, and I was interviewing this renowned oil painter who's originally from Bakersfield, California. We had dinner with her and her husband the night before, and we did the TV shoot at her home studio in Pahrump, Nevada, about an hour west of Vegas. The claim to fame in that town, they tell me, and I had it verified with Chamber of Commerce, are the brothels. That's their claim to fame. Yeah. They're actual businesses. So we were there to do this television segment, and it was beautiful. She was a wonderful person. She's a beloved oil painter. She welcomed us into her life and her home. When everything was done, we said all our goodbyes. The camera guy that we used, who used to work with us in New York, he had to get back to LA because he had a film gig in the morning to shoot. So I was still there. I was still there for another day and maybe a half. So I had the rental car, and I'm driving around because, I like to check out areas and beautiful vistas and sights and landscape and everything. What is this Pahrump, Nevada about? And I'm driving around. It was really a funky place. I kept seeing these signs to the entrance to Death Valley. So I'm like, holy cow, Death Valley. I mean, Death Valley movies, mystery.
Right.
It's like a Twilight Zone. The road goes on forever. You see it,
I get it.
the road goes on, right? So I kept going around the town, and for some reason, I kept being brought back in this rental car, not my car. I didn't check it out. Nobody knew that I was there. And I kept being brought to the entrance to that lonely forever road. August in Nevada, it's already 110 in Vegas.
Right.
What it's like in the desert. Something, I know you'll get this. I don't think I've ever expressed this to you. And there's only a few people I really have. Something pushed me in. Something said, you know what? You need to go and drive into Death Valley. And it needs to have a lot of risk involved. It can't be the ocean. You grew up on the coast, Jim. The ocean is your go-to place. It's your solace. You swim it, you surf it, boogie board it. They have to drag you out of the ocean. You love the ocean. Can't be a beautiful forest. It couldn't be the excitement of a city, and it couldn't have been the suburbs. It had to be stripped raw earth. Nobody knows you're going in. It had to be a rental car. It had to be no supplies, not all the water, the charged cell phones and everything else. Just get the hell in there and just go and see what happens. So I start driving in. I'm like, what am I doing? Normally this would have been planned and nobody knows I'm doing it. And I felt guilty the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes of driving in. And the guilt, people will say, well, what's that? What was the guilt from? What are you talking about? You're in there, you're just killing time till the flight leaves to go back east the next day. And the experience for me was, the guilt was, I'm like you, a giver, a doer, a caretaker type. I like communal experiences. I like to be in a movie theater when we're all in it together and we're all feeling the same emotion at the same time. It's just something. And as a host and as like you're a creative person, I like also sharing it, but I also like creating it. So there was nobody in that car. There were no loved ones. There were no friends. And everything that I was seeing that was visually extraordinary, nobody else was oohing, eyeing. Nobody was saying, oh my God, Jim, look at that. Oh, wow. There was none of that. It was just me in the rental car. So the guilt was that I was not sharing this, what I put on a pedestal, this monumental Death Valley experience with the loved ones and friends. So as I'm driving through, I felt a couple of energies. One was like the energy of the earth, like I was actually on a planet, the pull of the earth. I felt this incredible energy of nature, that I was surrounded by raw nature. And then I felt a presence of a divine guiding me, not anything visual, but just something was there saying, look, I've got a couple of options here, basically two. You can keep going and see where this takes you alone in the rental car. Nobody knows. You don't have the supplies, all the rest. It's 150 degrees in Nevada in the summer. Or you can turn back and go to the hotel and just relax till your flight goes. Choice is yours. I kept going. I felt these energies push me in. Drove all the way through, really incredible. I posted photos, took video. The whole thing was extraordinary. And then drove all the way back, had to get the car back, because the flight's in the next morning. And I'm in the rental car, not a lot of gas stations in Death Valley.
No.
Burger joints. So people said, and it goes on a little bit deeper than that, but people say, well, what did that do for you? It's something that was ad hoc. You didn't plan this. It did a couple of things. The first thing that it did, which is similar to what I'm connecting to the story that you just shared with us. What it did was it got me to understand that there will be experiences, even in my life, that will happen where I'm the only one in the room. And that's okay. That's okay that experience of the visual stunning beauty, the sensations, the risk of being in Death Valley alone, all of that was something that was given, and multiple people have said this was a gift offered.
Absolutely.
And you could have turned away from it. You could have shunned it. You could have said, I'll come back to this area one day with loved ones and friends and we'll share it together.
Right.
But you decided to take it and run with it. So there will be some things that go on in your life that will be just for you. And that's okay. It's not selfish. It's not egotistical.
No.
This is a gift for you. Second thing was that the world will continue spinning on its axis, whether I try to put out all the fires, will I always try to save it, will always, okay, I got a fire over there, my own fire, but I will douse it a little bit. I'll come back to it. I'm going to help put your fire out first.
Right.
There'll be times when you need to work on your own stuff.
Right. Yeah.
before you can be available for everybody else. And then the third thing was I used to always hate when I was on airplanes and I would hear the flight attendants say, okay, now in the event of us needing oxygen, the masks are going to drop. Put it on yourself first.
Right before the kid.
Or you help the other person. And I'm like, I wasn't raised that way. That's not in my DNA. My DNA is to make sure that it's on that person next to me first before it's on me.
Right.
And now I understand that you got to put the oxygen on yourself first before you can. So people have said, that was presented with a gift when I drove along through Death Valley, and it had to be Death Valley. It couldn't be, again, the ocean or anything else. And I said, well, why didn't this happen when I was 20 or 25 or 30? They said, because number one, you might not have recognized it. You might not have been ready for it. And you might have refused it. And it's very similar to what you're saying as far as having to have lived life to be able to witness and absorb the full depth of doing something like that and coming out of it with those understandings.
Yes.
Isn't that incredible? Yeah. That's the response everybody says. Like they're excited that happened. In my world.
All those little things, like till we get there and we're like, it was like, I can say yesterday I had that epiphany because with running for office, it's very overwhelming. And there are moments, there are moments I sit and shake my head and go, what am I in? Like what
am I signed up for? Yeah.
And then it hit me because you have always spoken, Rain, about doing the next indicated action. Mm-hmm. And now you get to put that to the test because before all of this, like no one expected a pandemic, no one expected things to change. No one expected, Hollywood to stop and things that like got and so I'm like, I get to show up. Right. That's real. Oh, okay. Yeah. I get to show up.
Right. Exactly.
And that's kind of what hit me. And it allowed me to kind of, take that breath and be,
That's it. That's it. I show this at the end of every show. It's important. You've got to do that. You've got to savor those moments and those people and those experiences in life, because again, life goes by fast. And
I had a great time sitting here with you.
Yeah, I feel like we're in the same living room.
I know. I'm so
I usually this is the third night this has happened. I usually say that I'm only, the show's supposed to be an hour, but no, it's not you. There's no commercial breaks.
Right.
There's no top of the hour break. We don't have to go to the national break. Right. And there's a lot of people still here. This is really, I've wanted to do this for a long time, this show situation here. And again, this resulted out of working out of the home studio, the home office. And people have told me to do this for years, and I'm glad I'm doing it. It's a blessing and a joy.
Social distancing, the mask, it'll get you places and you won't get germs. Commercial.
I tell you, you're an absolute right. When you and I first met, it's hard to put in words, which is weird for me to not be able to come up with the words. What, Jim? There we go. I was going to say it's hard to put in the words the actual feelings, because when you and I met, it was like an automatic, like we were almost like soulmates in terms of just kindred spirits. Like we knew automatically what the other one was about.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing when that happens, because whether it's on the phone or texting each other the best, or we see each other at events or whatever it is, it's just like this automatic, I've known you for like many years beyond the actual. And that's a rare thing, isn't it?
It is. And it feels that way even now. Like I still feel that way. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I love you, bastards.
It's not the whiskey talking, is it?
No, I win.
Good.
Yeah. It's not even done yet. If it was finished, then I could say that.
Let's see that glass. Oh yeah, you got half.
Yeah.
Is it half full or half empty?
It's half full.
And what's it called? The Kentucky Derby? What is that called?
Kentucky Mule?
Kentucky Mule.
That's what he said. I thought it was Moscow Mule, and he goes, then it would have vodka. I was like, I didn't even know there was a difference. Shows you how good of a drinker I am.
Yeah, he's the bartender. He's got it all covered for you.
And like I said, I'm just going to keep. Everything keeps unfolding in this new way that shocks me anyway. Like, I'm like, oh my God, this is happening. Really?
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I'm just kind of writing the next 3 weeks out.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful stuff. Well, Rain, I toast to you. You're an extraordinary person. As I mentioned, you're so talented in so many different ways.
Likewise.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Let's see if we can get in there and not spill it on our keyboards. Clang. There we go. Toast to friendship. Toast to happiness. Hopefully you knock it out of the park with the election.
Yes.
And this was a blessing and a joy. And I tell you, I hope you get a chance to. Yeah. Why, thank you. We'll have to maybe have you back when you win.
All right, fine.
Because that, just like Jeannie said,
I'm just gonna come back and we're just
yes, master.
So you pulled that out, and I was all like, dun, 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 dun.
Da, 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 da. I tell you, and what do you think of the sidekick, George Burns? The audience voted. This was a one night only thing, nostalgic last week, and everybody said you got to keep the George Burns sidekick.
Are you talking to me, God? You know, come on, George Burns. I'm all about it.
You know, going back quickly to entertainment, is there anybody that you wish you had worked with or had met, you know, that maybe isn't with us anymore?
I think there's a couple of people. One that I would have loved to have met, Billie Holiday. I would still love to meet Shirley MacLaine.
Mm.
You know, yeah.
Phyllis Diller.
Oh, I love Phyllis Diller.
Yes,
I did meet her though. Oh my God.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
My God.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a YouTube video of her performing somewhere. I think it's in the 70s. And she was just like, one-liners. I mean, it was just, there was no air.
Right.
I mean, you couldn't even breathe. You were laughing. So it's kind of like Rodney Dangerfield a little bit. Just bang, 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 bang.
Yes. So,
yeah. It's,
I would love to have sat and talked with Malcolm X and James Baldwin. You know, like when you think of like people like you, so I do a meditation where I do surround myself with different people I admire and I talk to them. My grandfather is at the table. My dad's at the table. Gandhi's at the table.
What a
I
table.
have an African spiritual person that's at the table. And sometimes I pick like a James Baldwin, or I've picked Billie Holiday. If it depends on the conversation I'm trying to have and I want clarity.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That leads me quickly to the other part. I keep saying quickly. Not so quickly. Lots of people are still here. Do you got laundry that you got to take out and put in the dryer?
I do actually, but it's fine.
It's motivational speaking. You do a lot of motivational speaking. That's another element of the work that you do. And I know that's near and dear to your heart. Tell us about some of that motivational speaking and some of what your message is, Rain.
You know what my message, so everything that I've literally have even written on Facebook, like in my prior wisdoms, have been things I've actually put into practice for myself. And it all began, I would say, at the end of 2015, where it actually was in practice.
Mm-hmm.
I felt very low and very down and started to read a lot of Neville Goddard. And I related to the responsibility that I own what happens. Like, not just to me, but like, and if I wanted to change, I can change my mindset. Like, you know, you hear those things, but you don't always practice them. And so I really began to practice that stuff in my life and how to heal it. And I'm not perfect. Like, I still have things I'm working towards and on, but the idea was now to give that back And so part of what I talk about is, if you want something, to really see it, to feel it, taste it, touch it, smell it, and then let it go. Then let the process happen. Like, so we're like, even being in this, we're here, the powerlessness of all of this. You know, there's so much that we try to control, and we're realizing that we really, it's not that the mind can control things, but it's like we're in this, we walk like in a vortex. Do you know what I mean? And how do we center ourselves to receive and to show up in the world? And that's kind of where my motivational talks come from, is that place of, how do you show up authentically, be who you are, not worry about what you have, but worry about the kind of person you are going to be, even if you have it or you don't have it.
Exactly. Right.
Because the richest people I've ever met have had nothing, believe it or not, materially, but they're so full of soul and truth and realness that I've met tons of people who've had everything financially not have that depth of soul.
Exactly.
You know, but you can have both.
Yeah.
You know, money doesn't have to be evil. Having stuff doesn't have to be evil. Do you know? Right. So how do we align ourselves to be authentic and appreciative and grateful? And it's like, I'm going through that with my daughter now, teaching her how you don't have to do things to get something.
Right.
Do it because you're a good person, because it makes you feel good about yourself that you did something, not because you know you're going to get an allowance, or you're going to get this, or you're going to get a toy, or, you know, that thing at the end of it.
The reward system. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it because it's the right thing to be doing for our soul and our, you know.
Exactly. That's the true essence of the way things always are supposed to be. And that's a beautiful lesson and message to be teaching her. And it's why she's growing up to be the fine young woman that she is. And then she will, like you have, through all of your work and through what you're continuing to do as well, inspire others.
You know, also, Jim, how we're going to inspire and keep inspiring people is by owning our own stuff.
You have to. Yeah.
You know, we have to say we have to admit we're not perfect. We have to admit when we've made a mistake and we haven't gotten it right. And we have to go, ooh, I can still grow from that.
Exactly. Exactly. I think we've got some more comments coming in here. Wow. Let's see. Ooh. Let's see what we've got here. Wow. This is going back. The Toy Classic movie. Yes. Let's see. Gonna leave meeting on Zoom. Love you, Rain and Jim.
I love that she says that.
And awesome program. Thank you very much. And salute, toast to you both.
Salute.
We appreciate that. Let's see. Great show. Cheers. And Red Skelton is who I would have loved to have met. Yeah, Red Skelton.
My dad loved Red Skelton, by the way.
You get what you put out. Think positive, receive positive. Do not allow anyone to steal your happiness.
That's
I
right.
agree 100%. AC says good night.
Good night.
I think it's very late where she is. Rain is so real. Love it. You really, really are. You really, really are. I mean, I would say, is there anything about Rain that people don't know? But I think you're so open. That's the thing. A lot of people have filters. A lot of people have, well, we all have masks now. We have to wear them. But, you know what I mean? We just.
By the way, speaking of masks, here comes for sale a mask all for you.
For just $9.99, and if you order now, you get two.
Now wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. And don't forget to always
relax
and breathe. Right? You love life, don't you? You've got it figured out pretty well.
I do. I don't think I have it figured out, but
well, right.
Yeah, but I do love it. Yes.
Other than running for office, which again, I tip my hat to you, that's an extraordinary thing you're doing, because I know the reasons why you're doing it, and I wish you all the best as well. Is there anything else that you haven't done that you would love to do?
Besides Broadway?
Anybody listening? Yeah.
No, yeah, there's tons of things like, besides travel certain places. I want to travel certain places. I, want to do Broadway. And I have that in my contract to direct, for the TV series. I want to do that.
Will that be filmed in LA?
Probably, yes. Yeah. Like there's just,
I'll be in the studio audience.
Right. One of the other things I'm doing is, I'm working on creating content for Jews of color to be able to have a platform to be able to share their art or their stories and, present it out there.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's funny. I was quiet only for a second because I can hear Lotus singing.
Is she singing?
She has headphones in and she's singing, and it's hilarious.
Can you hear what she's singing? What it is?
No, but it sounds like this.
Hello upstairs. The dog, you see four dogs. They're quiet.
Yeah, I hear that, and then I hear a movie happening. So it's like two things happening. It's hilarious.
That's
right
fantastic.
now.
It's called life, It's called life. Like I said, I could see you probably writing some of this down. I don't know if you've been keeping a diary, but just in terms of all the different things and the experiences of this really unprecedented time we're living in, and some of this can turn into a show, a play, just in terms of the living and quarantining with a family together.
Yeah, I definitely have ideas about stuff, especially, me and a girlfriend have been talking about our experiences, being in this box with, people don't spend all this time with their family.
They don't. No, you're right.
So you learn things that maybe you didn't want to know. like all your privacy anyway goes out the door.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
It really, really is. Yeah. But we trudge through. There's light at the end of the tunnel, right? Positive thinking.
There's some of us that are very lucky, and there's, we have to remember there are folks that aren't as lucky.
They're really hurting. Yeah.
That are really hurting during this, or they're in positions where they can't get out of it. And,
right.
And so those, for me, like part of the running for office is thinking about all of that and how does that impact people in their lives, and how are people going to come out of this stronger and better. And I think that's where the positivity and the motivational speaking comes in, because my thought is, how do I help you get your thinking back on track, where you don't see the knot and the loss, but you see what there is to gain and to benefit from,
right?
When you're hurting.
Yeah. Expand on that just a little bit in terms of a message for somebody that might be watching this right now. Again, this will be archived. They can watch it 10 years from now, right. But somebody that's going through that right now, where there's been some loss. So there's fear of what will happen,
right.
The economic situation, something maybe from your perspective that you can share that might lift them up a little bit. I've been trying to do that through everything I do professionally, and just
right.
people I've come across and talking on the phone. And we brought, a group of us got together with masks and social distancing. Right. We brought food to people in need. We've been doing everything we can. But what would be a message or something you would say to somebody watching now?
What I have to say is going to sound cliche, which is that the saying, "This too shall pass." I think what people need to realize from that, it doesn't mean when someone says "this too shall pass," it doesn't mean that a magic button goes off and you have your rent paid for and your car is paid for. What it means is the feeling that it will never change will pass. Right. That there is the process of change while you're going through it.
Right.
That nothing stays the same. Nothing stays. The only thing you can count on is you were born and there's death.
Yeah.
That's the rest. Do you know what I mean? The rest changes. There's constant change.
Right.
And it's up to that person to wait it out, to see that there's going to be something that is different, that being broke does not kill you, that losing your house will not hurt you, that there is always something. There is always something, whether it's, sometimes it's about humbling ourselves and saying, I need help.
Absolutely. Reaching out.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's hard. When you're depressed, that's hard.
Right. Exactly. Right. You feel vulnerable. You feel maybe shamed or whatever it is. It's one of the greatest things you can do for yourself, and reaching out to help others collectively too is something that, brings return joy to yourself. A lot of people are afraid to reach out.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the biggest steps I could take, was saying to one of my best friends about 4 or 5 years ago, I can't do this. I need help.
Yeah. Right. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
And it freed me, and to have them say, how can I help you? And what is it you need? And I said, I need block.
Right.
Point A to point B and And they said, here, let me help you. And then I said, I don't know when I could pay you back. I don't know. And they said, I'm not doing that so that you'll pay back.
Right, exactly.
Great if you do. And let me help you. And I think people have to learn how to ask.
And then sometimes when that happens to us, and it's a beautiful thing, we say, why in God's name did I not ask for help earlier?
Right.
Right. You're like, the response that you got was not what you thought it would be. They were like waiting. They were willing. Sometimes they even know that you need the help. They just don't want to come forward and offer it. They want you to ask when you're ready to ask. And that's a beautiful thing, like you did. And so anybody watching right now that needs help, ask, because there's people out there who want to help.
Yeah. You don't have to be religious to ask. You don't have to be. The thing is, this too shall pass. Nothing stays the same. Everything will change.
The earth keeps turning. It snows. It's sunny. Birds chirp. There's hurricanes. There's floods. It's just part of the existence, the human existence, and the way the earth turns.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, this is a 2-hour extravaganza, commercial free on the Jim Masters Show. Lovely.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. Yeah, bonus footage on the DVD. That's a huge glass you have.
Right.
That looks tasty. We'd have to try one of those Kentucky mules.
Now it's all watered down by
now it's the ice. That's
melted. Yeah.
Rain, you're amazing. You're amazing. Clang, 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 clang.
Clang, clang, clang went the trolley. Sorry.
Da, 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 da. Exactly. Yeah. You're gonna get us singing.
Yeah.
It's again, I could say it over and over. We could go on for hours because you and I, it's an automatic.
Thank you for having
me. It was a joy, absolute joy, as I knew it would be. And when you responded and I said, hey, Rain, I've got this thing I'm doing. You were like, when and where? When and where?
It's a perfect excuse to be in your presence.
And mine with you as well. Rain, you're amazing. You're a delight. You've given so much joy to all of us. You continue to, and we wish you great success with that election coming up in Baltimore.
Thank you.
That's it. Do you have a campaign slogan or anything?
No. Isn't that funny? I should. Everyone's like has all the rain stuff.
All this stuff. Yeah.
It pours. The rain cleans out Baltimore. I don't know.
Good. I like that.
Yeah. Rains down on corruption. I don't know. Who knows?
I always have such a ball with you, Rain.
Michael, thank you.
You have a great night. Best to Dave and Lotus and Thanks for being with us on the show. And I love you very, very much. And everybody here, all these great comments coming in. Lots of love to you. Did you have fun? Did you have fun? Did you have fun?
Come on. I'm in your presence, of course.
Thank you very much, Rain. You take care. Get that laundry and throw it in the dryer before it wrinkles. Bye-bye. Love you very much.
Mwah.
You take care. Best to everybody. So that's great.